Hello, I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Caroline, and we're interior designers. More and more people are asking us about what we do and how we do it.
Which brings us to our new design adventure, the Design Duet. Join us as we discuss the ins and outs and the ups and downs of interior design.
Today we're going to be interviewing a Sydney designer, Brett Mickan. Brett Mickan's design work is instantly recognisable, vivid, layered, expressive and timeless. With over 25 years of experience across continents and disciplines, Brett brings a theatrical sense of storytelling and a fearless use of colour to every space he touches. Today, we're thrilled to explore his world of design, creativity, and the art of making homes unforgettable. So let's get into it with the first question. So, Brett, your design story spans from Sydney to Melbourne and back again. What first sparks your passion for design, and how has your aesthetic evolved over time?
I think I was always interested in design as a kid, like always adjusting my bedroom. And I remember one time there was an old rotting mattress on the front yard that someone had left there. And so I took everything off except the springs, and it was this beautiful sculpture. So I hung it behind my bed on the wall, and then the whole aesthetic became about that. So there's always been ways I would do that. And I sort of felt like emotionally you could feel different by changing your space. I don't know if it was what my family was going through or whatever it was, but it's sort of like controlling that. I remember whenever we used to go to hotel rooms, if it felt uncomfortable or the furniture felt out of place, I would move it. Or if I really hated a painting, I would take it down and put it behind the sofa, just so while I was there, it felt cleaner and calmer. So always did that. And I remember one time we went away down the coast, maybe north, and I'd taken all these photographs of the scenery. So when I got home, this was after Dad had left home, so Mum sort of let me do whatever I wanted to do.
Sure.
So in the family room, I painted a mural all the way around the room, so it was sort of like sand colour below, and then all the north coast all the way around and blue above. And then I covered all the furniture in calico and sort of was like we were sitting at the beach there. But I think I was lucky to have a mother who'd just let me do whatever, which was great.
So lucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to ask, how did that go down with your father?
Yeah.
Well, he was no longer at home.
Okay.
You see, so that's
it.
He probably would have just been asleep on the sofa watching cricket anyway. So I just sort of lift him up, put him
Love
down.
it.
So you only did it at your mum's place?
Yeah, at mum's place. But then I think, and the second part of the question is like, how has my aesthetic changed? I think we should always be learning. We should always be seeing new. We should always be, confronted by so many different inspirations. So you create this visual library in your head, so everything you do is taken from a bigger and bigger visual library. So I hope it gets better and advances and you learn how to do different things, different tricks, how to work cabinetry, all that sort of stuff. So it's always changing.
Always changing, always evolving.
Yeah.
Always learning.
Always learning.
I like that.
Yeah.
Never stop learning. Yeah.
Yep, I really like that.
That's very you, Chrissy.
Very me. You've worked across such a wide range of spaces, from homes to yachts, exhibitions to theatre. How do you shift your approach depending on the environment?
Well, I don't know if you know that I did interior design first at Randwick. Then I went to NIDA and I did set and costume design.
Oh, wow.
So I did that and did a few sets, did a lot of regional theatre, and then went into exhibitions. And so I sort of did a little bit of everything that went back into interior design. When I was at my first interior design school, I liked it, but I sort of felt there were too many rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to use, this is the latest fabric. It was probably when boucle was in the last time.
Yes, last time.
1800s. And you had to use the most expensive thing. And I really didn't like the idea of that rule. So I thought maybe theatre design is better for me. And so it's sort of about creating this whole world. So when you're creating a design for theatre, I'd read the play and then your initiative would I'd sketch out a design and then you'd read the play 4 more times and you'd think, wow, this works. This little bit works here and this little bit works there. So it's about trusting your instincts from your first impression. So when I do a design, no matter whether it's a yacht or an exhibition or interior, I need to find that story. I need to find the characters. And that's what makes it individual and that's what makes it different each time. So it's sort of like, there was this time when I did exhibition design and I used to do this thing where I worked freelance for a company. So I was doing the Men of League calendar that was going to be at the Hilton. So I wouldn't know what it was. I worked with this company and they'd say, just be at the Hilton at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I would be there. I was like in my early 20s, I'd catch a train there. And then a truck would turn up with like fabric and tools and paper and all this sort of stuff. And they said, okay, this evening's going to be in Men of League. Take this stuff and make something. So I'd have the day. It would be so exciting.
Wow.
It was sort of like whatever I could do and make that. So it's sort of like you're starting from new. You have no preconceptions and you're making it. And I've always had this attitude that because people go, how could you do that without knowing what you were doing? But I hadn't not done it, so I've never failed at it.
Well,
so
you had your library in your head.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, let's just see what happens. And to have that time and that space, it was wonderful.
Oh,
It's very theatrical.
Very theatrical.
Yeah.
but storytelling as well.
Yeah, and I can see that coming through in a lot of your work.
Yeah.
Just looking through your website, as we talked about earlier, you can just see it come through, room by room, space by space.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can make a beautiful photograph of a room, but I design rooms to be populated.
Yeah.
Like I really think, and I was going to try to do it, but I think I need to do it more, that actually photograph people in my spaces rather than just an empty room.
Well, we all probably should do that.
We should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to be photographed, though, do they?
Well, that probably leads us to the next question, and that is your interiors are known for their bold colour and rich layering. How do you approach using colour with confidence in a space?
Yeah, I think colour, it has to be a little intuitive, and I think it is. You sort of can use it or you can't. You can learn, and you can learn what colours go with different things, and you can look into nature, you can look into fabrics and art and see that. But I think it's also that I like to use colour that feels like it's what's supposed to be there. So you look at the cues in the architecture. I do a lot of renovations of older homes. And so you go in and there's already tons of colours.
Yeah, for sure.
You have that wood floor, which is, when it's older, it's that beautiful caramel colour. You may have stained glass. You have the black lines, whatever colour is in that. You have shape and shadow, maybe brick, maybe tessellated tile. So there's so many colours that are already there. And so when you do a contemporary renovation on that, how are you going to make that work? So I think a nice way of doing it, it's like there's a Federation house I did in Haberfield. I've done like 9 houses in Haberfield. When friend tells a friend.
Where's that exactly?
It's sort of like all the young 20-year-old couples lived in a city, and when they wanted to have kids, they couldn't actually live in a city anymore, so they moved a little bit west to Haberfield. So it's sort of like where all the cool coffee set went out there. And it's sort of like a little bit of an Italian area, a little bit. There's beautiful Federation homes there, tons of them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I did this big renovation on the back. Now, scale and everything is very important, but, often those renovations have giant glass doors that look out into the garden or something, and it's a connection to the old part of the house. And you don't want to, it's nice that it feels contemporary, but you don't want to walk from one and then go into the other and it feels like a completely different thing. So I took this really deep, yellowy green Federation saturated colour, and all the walls were wrapped in it. And so what happens is the walls disappear. You see the windows, you see the garden, you see the connection, the beautiful connection to the old part of the house, and you see the elements we put within there, which is the art and the layering and the furniture. So, and it just, people walk in, like when they were painting it, the number of people that tell me every time, the painters that come and go, I think we've got the wrong colour. It's, that's good, but just keep doing it.
Just keep going.
Yeah, but once it's in there, you don't even see the colour. It just sort of feels like, of course.
Like it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, and people go, did you take this colour from your original part of the house? Is this the original part? So it feels so much at home because it has a story. It belongs to what's already there.
That's great. And I love how you said at the beginning that you take, your inspiration from what's already existing. That's definitely something that Chrissy and I pride ourselves on. We love taking inspiration from what exists. And often your clients can't see that.
Absolutely.
They can't see that in the tessellated tiles there is a colour, or in the stained glass windows there's a colour, or even the fine lines of the, like you said, of an iron piece or a frame window. That's where you take inspiration from, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also if you look at the colours in tessellated tile, they're not pure colours. They're these beautiful, rich deep bases. And I love to use colour with a lot of colours in the bases so that it changes under different lights. Sometimes it looks green, sometimes it looks blues, it's beautiful. So it gives it that energy. You don't want that stark, bright colour because that's not what would have been with the home.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the old brass handles they may have in there, that has 100 colours in it too. As it ages, it has blacks and browns and greens and yellows. So beautiful, taking those sort of tones from it.
It's got a life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like that. What about art? How does art influence your interiors, Brett?
Well, I sort of believe, I don't know if you know, I used to write for Art Edit for the first 5 years.
All these secrets are just coming out one by one. We might be here all day.
But what I loved about it, I was on what they called the Art Council, and they would send me 5 to 10 pieces of art for that issue. It was a quarterly magazine. And they'd say, just write how you'd incorporate it into an interior. And often they'd say, just write on the ones that you like. And I'm going, well, that's not real life.
No.
We get clients all the time that have things they really like and we have to make it work. So that was so great. I mean, sometimes it's by making the background really dark so the art pops out. Sometimes it's not too fabulous, but it's important to them. So it's like what you hang it with to create sort of its importance. It's where you hang it, the size, all those sorts of things. So, but I believe that we are artists. A good interior designer is an artist. So it's not about incorporating art into my work. It's like my work is art.
Yes.
And so you will have art pieces in it, but it's that curation, that editing of all those different pieces that makes art. And I think that's going back to the theatre too, which refers back to the last colour idea. It's sort of like it's not just the space you're in, it's the space that it leads into. So it's all about that. So when your clients or your friends arrive at your house, whatever it is, it's sort of like you want them to be surprised and delighted and see things that they haven't seen and sit down in your space and it tells this whole story about you. It's your art, your story, and that's what you're creating, the art of the person who lives there, that's married to the architecture, that's married to the location.
Yes, it's all works together.
Exactly. And I don't think interior design, interior decoration is celebrated enough as an art. And I think it has a lot to do with licensing, but I don't think it is in Australia.
Yeah.
Because you look back to like the 1960s with, Billy Baldwin and David Hicks and all that sort of stuff. They were gods.
Yes.
We need to bring interior designers' art back.
Oh, we agree.
I'm 100% with you on that. So that probably leads to the next question. So when working with clients who may be more colour shy, how do you guide them to take risks while still staying true to their personalities?
It was funny the end of that question where you're saying staying true to their personalities. So are your clients' personalities beige and neutral?
No, thank God.
So
that's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. So why is colour not staying true to their personalities? Maybe they may be scared of colour, but you're trying to find something that works for them.
Correct.
Yeah. I had another Federation house once, and it was the frilliest house you've ever seen. It had a turret. It had so many stained glass. It has like 27 colours in the windows and flowers and wiggles and all this sort of stuff and ornate fretwork. And the client said to me, I like simple, minimal, white.
Why did they buy that house?
Yeah.
Exactly
but
right.
She was dressed in colour and floral and had all this sort of stuff. And so it's like, you listen to them, but you listen to them by also looking at them and seeing what they got. And they bought this house because they sort of liked it. So she thinks this is what she likes, but she doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. And that doesn't mean I'm going to make it extra frilly. But so what we did is the room that came right off those stained glass windows, it's actually sort of a parchment colour wall. So see, I use white.
So do we sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah. But you're looking at
Shock horror.
Yeah, you're looking at the stained glass, and it's got these beautiful, intense mix of colours. And with stained glass too, it's not one colour. It's like a gradation of colours in each colour. And then, but there's a big balance of clear. So it's that balance of colour that I'm interpreting the room. So even though the walls were white, the rug had quite a lot of pattern in it. There was like a bold two-seater sofa, and then elements that came in, art and stuff that were a lot of colour, but the majority of the space was in neutral, like the windows, but there were these strong pops of colour and elements of black that came through. And that's how I'm interpreting those pieces within that room. So we go back to the question, it's like how to get clients.
How did
to
you
use
go
colour.
with that client?
She loved it.
Yeah.
She absolutely loved it. Another house I was doing once, too many stories.
No,
Yeah.
love them. Give them.
A client said, and this is a client I've worked with a few times, so it was a bit strange. They said to me, I want to see samples of those colours up on the wall. And it's like, okay, well, the old part of the house is like a dirty brown peach wall, and I'm going to do a box of lights
Yeah.
and with no other furniture in a
work.
job site.
You're going to not like this colour.
Yeah, so I did it, and they came home that night and they called me and they said, oh my God, we hate every single colour.
course.
It's awful. And so I said, okay, I hear you. Now let me finish. This is the first layer, and if you don't like it when we finish, then you can see it. And then this was the house that ended up with the really strong green in the background and everything like that. So they loved it when it was
Great.
there because you don't see it.
No.
The colour is the first layer. The good thing about a really strong colour is you can put a lot more into it and it will sit back there. If you have a really white light interior, everything is seen. And especially if you have children or something like that, it may look good in the photograph, but it's never going to look like that in real life.
No,
There's always
that's
going to
right.
be bits and
We
stuff
all know
around
that.
there. Yeah.
Bit of Vegemite on that wall. And
That's right.
yogurt on the other.
That's right. So deep colours hide a lot.
And also, your client's got to trust the process. And I often hear myself saying that. I don't say it to every client, but they have employed us to give them the personality that they want. And enhancing, a home filled with stained glass windows or whatever it may be, you can say to them, look at what you've got here. Look at what's there, what's existing.
Yeah.
And I say, do you think I can really put pink and yellow in this room? And you just need to say, have a look. It's already existing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
and
the
you
nice
also
thing.
have to be, Nick says I shouldn't say this, but you have to have a little bit of a fight with the client along the way, like challenge them.
Yeah.
Because you are doing things that they could never imagine,
That's
and they
right.
need to trust that you honestly
That's
believe
what I was
in
going to say. It's
Yeah.
about building up your relationship with them,
Yeah.
them trusting you and having confidence in you, which
Yeah.
then gives them confidence.
Yeah, because it's
when they're
very
in it.
difficult for them because they haven't seen anything at first, so they haven't seen a room done. Once there's some rooms done and you see it starting to go together, it's easier, but at first it's tough.
And also, it's not their area of expertise.
No.
That's why they've employed you.
And then there's because we're psychologists.
Yes.
Yeah, of
So you have to do something like my client, may hate, I don't know, green or something like this. So you're saying, I'm going to do it in a deep botanical colour. Just change the words. Or, or if they don't like, so it's something like that.
You might be giving too much away here, Brett.
This warm earth tone.
I love it.
No mention of mushroom colours at
Yeah,
the
no
moment in
mushroom
Melbourne,
colours.
okay? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or the wife really likes pink and he doesn't. It's like a faded brick colour.
Yes, love it.
Love this.
Hilarious.
So what's your process for mixing vintage pieces with contemporary design in a way that feels fresh and relevant?
Well, I sort of think that vintage pieces make things fresh and relevant because what happens if you're doing so-called swear words of our business to me on trend
Yeah.
or something that's right now, then as soon as you've done it, it's out of date. So by blurring the lines of the time when this is done, it creates this thing that doesn't date as much. So I believe in buying beautiful pieces, whether they're modern, whether they're contemporary, whatever. And I don't believe in fluff, that idea of the 3 vases because we've got a corner or something like that. It's only pieces that are needed or pieces that have a reason. Sometimes a reason can just be because someone gave it to you or I just really like that colour. I mean, it doesn't have to be, major, but it's sort of like and then because you're doing those mix of things that belong in that house, whether it's contemporary or older, then they belong. It's also if there's, say you have an old Victorian house and they want super modern, so it can be really lovely modern Italian furniture, but you have one overstuffed Victorian chair. That's all you need.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it relates to that and it becomes a piece of art because too much of anything just looks like too much.
Oh, definitely.
So the fact that everything has a bit of a different story, everything has importance. So that's really how I do it. And also vintage comes with a story. Like I was doing this holiday house in Berry, which is like 2 hours south.
I have heard of Berry.
So
Sydney.
have I.
Yeah, it's lovely. And it was this beautiful property that was built by an architect to mimic the line of the stones, the Camberwarra Mountains with these long windows and sandstone floors and everything. It was beautiful. But at the back was just all glass, which was lovely. But my client sort of wanted a cozy English country house. And she goes, and we bought a shed on a hill.
Okay.
So in her bedroom, sort of, I used colour and fabric to give you that warmth. And then one beautiful old chair that I found with the brass wheels. So it was probably like early 1800s. And that was like, even though it was in a neutral herringbone, it just sort of felt like country home English without doing a lot of other stuff there. There were vintage armed wooden lights, but everything else was quite simple. It's just those couple of pieces gave her that feeling. And then down in the living room in this space, it's a really beautiful plush rug and big plush sofas. I upholstered the walls in just a linen, so they just feel warm and lovely.
Magic.
But it's still neutral, but you've got these big sofas and an open fire, a couple of vintage chairs. They were like 1960s, but it feels like that collected, beautiful country space, but it's still very clean and contemporary. So when you're in there, you just feel like you are in this
Very relaxed,
very relaxed
warm,
little country
and very
house,
comfortable.
with a big, beautiful view of the mountains and the ocean and everything.
Stunning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, when they walk in, they'll say, oh, it's just got this feel about it.
Yeah.
And I'm always intrigued by that because, yes, that's what we're trying to create,
Exactly.
all the feels.
Yeah, it really is creating that emotion, creating that connection. Yeah.
And now talking about a few of your highlights, and you've won multiple awards and your work is often published. What project has meant the most to you and why, if there is just one project?
The one that's meant the most to me is actually our last place.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which was so incredible. I mean, I get bored very easily and distracted, so it's probably the next one.
Poor Nick.
But
You sound like my husband.
But we found, it mixed everything. It mixed theatre and magic and surprise and space. So, we like to flip properties every 5 years.
Okay.
And so we're in Surrey Hills. This one was in Surrey Hills in Sydney, which is sort of inner city. And we found this place online and it said 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 300 square metres. And we're going, oh, what? This has got to be wrong. We called them up and said, there's a mistake here. It said, no, there's not. But it was this strange space that is in the bottom of a apartment building, but it was entered off a lane.
Right.
So we were the only entrance on the lane. So it's like the entrance of a terrace. And then because they had claimed part of the car park, it went back 16 metres, then right 16 metres.
Oh.
It had been lost to the bank because it had been previously used as an underground secret gambling casino.
Oh, I love that.
That was accessed by a push-button bookcase to the back room.
Oh, get out of here.
That's so
Yeah, it
You're
was so
joking
incredible.
now, aren't
No.
you?
And then with the bankruptcy came a pool table, a blackjack table, and then these crazy things like a big old white coffin, which was lined with faux zebra skin and a giant pink monkey in it. There was this theatrical throne. It was incredible.
Okay,
so
we
it was
need photos.
Yeah.
We really need proof of life here.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Yeah, well, it was in Bell, so it was
Okay.
because we sold it last year. So, but it's on my website. You can see. But so creating this space, it's my ideal because we love to entertain. So suddenly you've got an apartment in the city where you have 2 living room spaces that are 9 metres by 4 metres. It was incredible. So we had the front living room with a bar off it, which is the best bar I've ever done. It was so amazing.
Fantastic. Love your work.
Yeah, and then you go through the dining room and the kitchen, and then I love the idea of the theatrical secret room. So, but it was no longer a push button bookcase.
Okay.
It was a panel in the wall, which was a pivot door that opened out to the back living room, which was the den, the playroom, which was yellow carpet and piglet-coloured walls, and it was so
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Piglet coloured.
Yeah, that was
Okay, so
the
there's
Dulux
pig.
colour. It's called Piglet. It's really lovely. Or as I say to my clients, a really lovely, soft, warm brick colour.
Brick colour. Love it.
Faded brick
Yes.
colour, yeah. So our final party there, it was like 142 people. It was just fabulous. So to be able to entertain like that, and it became 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Okay.
And I could use all the things that clients were scared to use and put things together and mix things old and vintage and colour. And like the main internal space off the kitchen and off before the back room was the dining room. But because it was so open to the rest of the spaces, I used that really intense blue
Beautiful.
so that it grounds it. And so when you're in this dining room, and the ceilings were lacquered to an old decorator's trick to make it feel bigger because the ceilings weren't super high.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're in this beautiful cocoon space, which, a table that we could make sit up to like 20, which was fabulous. And so the parties we had in there. And then when you're in the back room, because you're not really access to the front, you had no idea what time it was.
Yes.
No one could hear you.
Yeah,
fantastic. It was great.
And so was there actually any windows?
Only at the front.
Right.
So the front bedroom and the front living room had windows. So we had to call the back rooms studios and sleeping pods.
Right.
Yeah. Which you can say what they are. You're allowed to sell that. You just can't call it a bedroom.
Yeah, sure.
So did a regular couple or family buy it, or who bought it?
This person who was the head of some advertising companies on this side of the world. So it was somebody creative, which was great.
Yeah,
right.
That's I was
who wanted to entertain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just such a fabulous entertaining space.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also like the idea that you go off a little lane through a door and it's like, oh my God.
It's like a secret.
Yeah, oh my God, yes, which is
Surprise.
great.
Nothing better.
The number of times that people would come along and when we'd have parties and just walk in, and we go, excuse me, this is a private house. Oh, we thought it was a club. Or we thought it was a restaurant.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Did you let them in?
Yeah. I remember I was sitting, one of the first dinner parties, I was sitting in the dining room. It was all connected to the front. And I was sitting down and saying, this is a very personal space. I was with a bunch of designers there and going, it's always a bit scary when you bring people in because it's sort of like showing yourself there, even though I loved it. And someone walked past and goes, I love your house. It was like I'd paid them. It was great.
Oh,
She was on the
I love
outside.
it. I love that.
Yeah, so
you
that was
couldn't
nice.
pay anyone
That's
to do that at that moment.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story.
Brilliant. Yeah.
What a story. What's been the biggest influence in your design career?
I think it's travel.
Mm.
Yeah, I really love because, that really helps with your visual library because, we are bombarded with social media and currently our magazines of sameness.
Same.
Yeah, so it's sort of like if you were only looking at that, you'd think everything was the same. There were only these options. I was talking to a stylist the other day on a shoot and she's going, oh, it's so nice to see a different cocktail table. I keep having to style the same one. It's like, isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's very sad.
So my favourite thing about travel is I love historic homes, finished historic homes.
Yes.
I've recently been in Milan for Salon de Mobile. I know you've been. But Villa Necchi,
amazing.
God.
Is that just to die for?
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
Built in the
Next level.
30s and designer and decorator. It's
on my list.
Oh, it's so incredible. If you do nothing else when you go to Milan, you just do that. It's like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's incredible. But then there's so many I've been to. There's a Chastleton house in the Cotswolds.
Okay.
Which is this old house that was built like 400 and something years ago and was in the same family until the 60s. Like the maiden aunt was living there. But because there were all these big old rooms and they couldn't keep up the property anymore, there were rooms that weren't used that still have the medieval furniture in it.
Oh, man.
And then her room up the top that has a big medieval bed and a little television with, the antler.
I love it.
With a little,
love it.
and an old phone where a cat sat. So it's just this life, it's this story. It's like you walk into the space and you know the story of this person,
you
which is
come
how
back
I
to the
love to
story.
design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then there's so many. There's Carrick Hill in South Australia, which used to be a department store, John Martin's.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy built this house. Him and his wife went away to Europe for their honeymoon and they bought pieces of old estates, staircases and ceilings and stuff, and they've made this incredible mansion that they lived in, I think until the 30s, maybe even 50s. But it's sort of like, and then they gave it to the museum, and it's got amazing art like Monet's and Picasso's, and then it's got the beautiful bathroom from the 1930s, which was the latest design. And it's just so it's a story, which is again how I like to design, where it's not just we're doing it all new.
Yeah.
It tells you the story of the whole period of the house as it's gone along.
And in South Australia, so easy to get to.
Easy to get to. It's got a great cafe and a big lawn for your next wedding.
Oh,
Well,
gorgeous.
here we are,
okay.
we're advertising for them now.
Yeah,
You've been paid for this one.
that's right.
And tell us, you've been judged, you've judged design
And
awards.
I've been judged as well.
I can imagine, and have taught masterclasses. Yeah. What common traits do you see in truly fabulous
I
design?
think it's relevance to where it is and who it's for, and originality,
Yes.
that sort of sense of surprise. Because so often, like, don't you look through a magazine, you go, what did this house get 20 pages, but it's not the same house, you know? So something that you think, wow, how amazing. And I know SJB did this amazing thing just near me in Surrey Hills where they took this old shop building. They've won so many awards for it, I'm sure you've seen it. And they extended this tiny little space for the house where he lived or lives. And the part of the original house where there was sort of an arched brick windows and another little different shaped window. So what he did is he took a similar material but in a totally different format. He took that arch and then made circles and arches and all sorts of stuff. So it could only be in that location. And it was a beautiful interpretation of what was existing there, but in a very contemporary way.
Yeah.
And so that's what's beautiful, good design is. It's like it could only be there. It's only about that space, this time, those people, that location.
Very unique.
Very unique.
And
Very
original.
individual.
Yeah.
What would you say to designers who feel pressure to follow trends, especially in today's social media-driven world? I mean, we've kind of covered this, but what extra words?
Young ones.
Yeah.
Young.
Designers, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you sort of have to go to a process first. So you have to listen. First, you have to listen to the architecture. Then you have to listen to the client. Then you have to look at the location. Then you have to resolve the functionality, the floor plan, everything like that. So once you've done that, you've already established this whole thing, which is just based on what that space is, what that location is. And then you can layer on your decorating stuff afterwards. So even if you like trends or something like that, or you want to look, you've done all that first, and that's going to focus your mind away from just immediately going like, oh God, no, I have to put that curved sofa in. Yeah.
But I love how you've said in all of that, just listening.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, for any young comer coming into our field, I think that is just key.
Young comer?
Yeah, well, young up-and-coming influencers, interior designers, decorators, architects.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them do come in with a lot of confidence these days, and I feel
and they do all the talking.
They do a lot of talking.
Yeah.
So I remember we all would sit back, and if, you know, I was to meet someone like yourself when I was younger, I would sit and listen. I was probably too scared to talk.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, the important thing was I would sit there and I'd write notes and just listen, ask a question now and again, but you listened more.
But also when you listen, you're listening to what they're not saying as well.
Yes.
Like a client is very good at telling you what they don't like.
Absolutely.
Often not very good at telling you what they do.
Very true.
Yeah, and especially with colours and stuff and pieces. So that's how you can get it. And also if people are sending you their Pinterest pages or their whatever, it's like what you're doing is looking at what they're really showing you and seeing what that consistency is. So you're listening to that too, because they're not showing you exactly what they like. I mean, I remember a client telling me, I want like blonde wood kitchen, you know, I love this cabinet cover and everything like that. And when I presented to them, it was like this dark stained wood. And they're going, well, I asked for light. I'm going, no, but this is why it works for you and what you really wanted to do in this space. And the fact that you want to use this space as your nightclub. Like one of his requests was, I want the island strong enough so it can be a dance podium.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's sort of like,
dark colour.
yeah, it had to be all this sort of stuff. And so it didn't work in this industrial space what he was doing. And it was sort of like, you have to really not only listen to their words, but listen to what they're saying and what they're showing you and then combining all that together. Yeah.
Perfect.
And let's hope club was created.
Let's hope
fabulous.
the young designers of today can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take it on board. And having worked in both the US and Australia, how would you compare the design sensibilities of the two countries?
Well, there's a lot of confident people in America.
Yes.
Who have
Been very
confidence
polite,
in themselves and confidence about what they have. So it's a typical thing in America to get clients. When you're in the higher end, you know, you get clients that want to have something that represents them that no one else has. I want, you know, a temple to myself. And so you make this beautiful space, which is great because you learn about them and you make these beautiful things. Then you come to Australia, a lot of people go, I really like this look. You know, I want, you know, French provincial or I want...
we can see you balking over there.
Hamptons,
that's the big swear word. Have they ever been to the Hamptons? When was Hamptons? Blue and white coastal, that is not Hamptons. have them this beautiful old money eclecticism. So, yeah, so I think that's the big difference. And also here, especially in our economy at the moment, people are very worried about prices of things.
Yes.
Often in America, if something's expensive, they think it's better. Not that you're marking things up more, but it's sort of, they think it's more exclusive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's sort of a different attitude there.
Different mindset, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is a different mindset. So it's like, wow, that must be fabulous if it's twice the price of the other one.
Yeah, well, that's a great comparison. Yeah, because, two sets of, different people often and, in different countries. I think that's a great comparison.
And those clients are in Australia that want to represent themselves. They're just, you have to find them and you maybe have to force them to represent themselves.
Yes.
Make the best of them. So,
great.
I hope you find them.
Yeah.
Okay, this one hopefully doesn't throw you. If you had to distill your design philosophy into 3 words, what would they be and why?
Yeah, I had to think about this for quite a while. So it may seem weird and what you don't think with the 3 words, but it's considered, collected and curated.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And the 3 C's.
Yeah, the 3 C's. Because you really have to consider, as we've talked about, the location, the architecture, the client, the environment. And then collected is I love it to feel like a client has just gathered all their favourite things and put it in a room and somehow they just look amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really look designed. It just all works together.
Yeah. Yes.
And then curated is how we make this collection look like it's effortless.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a design friend come over to our place and she knows that everything, even though everything looks like it's just accidentally put there and there's a coaster everywhere you want to drink and everything, she goes over to the table and she grabs, an ornament and then moves it back and forward and goes, yeah, woo. It's just like what she does. Yeah.
Why don't you put it over there?
Yeah.
Like, I could do that.
Yeah.
One of those.
We had one of those old postal drawers, lots of little drawers in a hallway, and my brother-in-law would always open like 2 or 3 and pull them right out before he left.
I love it.
Just as a surprise, when we walked up the hallway.
I have a great design friend, Anna Karen McNamara, and she had this big party when she was in her last house. And so everything is beautifully styled. And the way you enter, because she's Swedish, she's such a great entertainer, you sort of go through the house and they're all out the back. So I knew that no one was going to be in the front part of the house. So I bought this really bad little ceramic glass.
That's great.
And I put it in on the mantelpiece right at the front. So as people came in, they'll think, oh, God. But she's taken it to all her houses since then. Sometimes it's in her photo shoots.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
I love
great.
it. So you have a giggle every time you see it.
That's right.
Now we've got a design myth. There's a myth that colourful, layered interiors can't become or timeless. What would you say to that?
Well, part of my many years of studying design and theatre and design again is you do colour theory.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about calming colours, it's not white.
No.
It's blues and greens and earth tones.
Correct.
And so they're beautiful in bedrooms. And also calm can be about contrast of colours. So black and white isn't very calming. But say you have brick in a room and then you put this soft sort of warm earthy colour next to it, the contrast is softer. And so that makes it calming too. And then even with strong colours, like we talked about with the contemporary extension, if you wash the walls in really dark colours, what we're focusing in is out the window, the view.
Yes.
If it's a country place, it's great to do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing more calming than that view. And then it also focuses on your pieces you're putting in it. And the pieces could be really contemporary, they could be art. So that's what's going to say what the period of the house is rather than that being dated.
I think you've explained that very well. I think that, having, like you say, a colour that doesn't need to be white, cream. It's a calming colour. And we all will say that our own selves would have a different feel on colour and what's relaxing and calmful for us.
Yeah, I mean, who says that neutral and monochromatic is calm?
Exactly.
Yeah, is that? I mean, it may be for some people.
Exactly.
It may not be. But then you talk about the other part of the question is the timelessness.
Yes.
So if you think about a timeless space, it's probably a space that's been there a long time and has you gathered things and you collected things. If you go to an old artist's old exhibition space or studio. It tells that beautiful story of him, and that's timeless.
Yes.
And that's not going to date because it's about them. And so when you go into a space like my home, which is surrounding yourselves by art and things that we've collected there, it's not minimal, but it's sort of timeless because it's talking about that story and it's not of any period. So calm and timeless can be neutral.
Yes.
But the fact that it has to be, I mean, no.
And as you said, you're looking at the architecture and the view outside, and that's helping you choose the colours that you choose.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and then again, like I said before, colours should feel like they belong in that space. And so that makes them timeless because they don't date as fast.
Yes. Very true. So we have rapid fire questions.
See how rapid
you ready?
I can be.
Rapid fire. Here we go.
You're all good. Don't you worry.
Favourite era of design?
I think it's 1960s. I really love that refinement where, Noel and Saarinen designed pieces that were very functional and very simple. And there was also Pantone and Billy Baldwin and people that were using colour and full-on decoration.
Yeah.
And so I just love
it.
Yeah.
1960s.
Yeah.
Design rule you love to break?
Matching. Colour coordination. I think a space needs clashing. It needs texture clashing, and that's what gives it the energy. Something you put next to them, go, that really doesn't go. I think that gives that beautiful buzzing energy to a space and gives it life.
Gosh, I'm with you.
Yeah. Dream collaboration?
I think with a creative. Yeah. But I think somebody with a really...
And you, I'm waiting on you.
Somebody with their own strong aesthetic, maybe in a different field, like Tom Ford, Marc Jacobs, or even in Australia like Bianca Spender or Anna Willie Highfield, somebody who does something beautiful, but then you interpret with that amazing creative energy, their space to work with that, capturing their story.
Love it.
Yes. Go-to paint colour?
Well, that's very easy. One that works perfectly within the space that comes out of the interior.
Tick. An object you'll never tire of styling with?
Art. Art is so important. I love art. I go to all the art trade shows. I love to go to the up-and-coming art trade shows like the Other Art Show and all those sorts of things and see the up-and-coming artists and buy their work before the galleries get them.
Yes. Good on you.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And they're twice the price.
Yeah. There was a catalogue that used to be out for a fabric brand which was shot, it's contemporary fabric, really bright colours and put in this old palace in Italy. And then there's old furniture and just a big contemporary painting on the wall. You look at that space and it's modern.
Yes.
Art says everything you want to say no matter what else is there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. What's always on your mood board?
Vintage.
Vintage.
Has to have some sort of story. You have to bring in story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if client doesn't have story. The other thing in that house in Berry is down the hallway, because this was their holiday house, like I collected all these old group photographs from vintage stores and hung them all down the wall. So it looked like the story of a family, but it was nothing. It was just funny, cool photos. But you feel like, oh, wow, there's a story here. There's people that have lived here. So vintage brings its own story.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
You're one of the best storytellers I've listened to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Presentations are stories.
Yes.
You've got to get the client carried away.
Yeah.
I remember when I give a presentation, sometimes the client thinks, oh, my God, wow, that's amazing. They don't really know what you said because you've been speaking to 2 to 3 hours, but they're so excited by the fact that you're excited. They think it must be good.
And also that you're talking about them and you're telling them the story about them that they actually didn't even know existed because you've listened.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and we're salespeople and it's our job to tell them why. It's not just I'm doing this because this is what I like to do. It's like why this works and why this is so fabulous for you.
Yeah.
Or why you have to be quiet and wait till it's finished and then you'll see how fabulous it is for you.
Yeah. But it's having faith and trust in you and obviously that you've got a gift and, that's your artisan in you and you're an artist. So
the best clue to clients is if you allow your designers to do their best, you're going to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
Those clients who do that get so much
Couldn't
more.
agree more.
Are you saying free range?
No, not free range. I'm not interested in free range. In fact, I even like having older homes that I'm extending. I think it's harder when it's brand new. I do love to do it because you're having that influence, but it's sort of like I'm designing the best of you, curated by me. I'm not designing me. So that's not free range, but it is allowing you to make those.
Have creative expression
Yeah.
freely?
Yes.
With the reflection of you. The best of you. Yeah. Well, thank you, Brett, so much. You've been amazing.
Oh,
your storytelling is extraordinary.
Oh,
and
it's been fun too.
And it's been fun.
Yeah.
And your gift is...
And I'm your first Sydney person, aren't I?
You are the first Sydney person.
Yes.
But I lived in Melbourne. I lived in Melbourne for a while.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where and when?
In Camberwell, when I went to primary school.
Oh, cute.
That's very cute.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll give you that one, but we'll still say you're a Sydney sider.
Okay, good.
Thanks for coming down to Melbourne.
Thank you.
It's very cold.
Always a pleasure.
So you were very brave.
Yes. Yeah. And thanks for coming on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Great.
And Caroline, what a delight it was to have Brett today. I just can't believe how fearless his approach is to colour, layered storytelling and unwavering attention to detail. It reminds us that good design is both deeply personal and undeniably expressive. Whether it's a grand heritage home or a bold contemporary space, Brett's work leaves a lasting impression. And today's conversation has been no exception. We hope you're walking away feeling inspired to embrace creativity, to take a risk, trust your instincts, and make your home unique. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to get in touch, email us on thedesignduet@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram page, The Design Duet.